are set. Number 1, Clemson, number 2, Alabama, number 3, Michigan State, and number 4, Oklahoma. The first semifinal matchup is Clemson versus Oklahoma in the Capital One Orange Bowl at 4 p.m. Eastern on New Year's Eve. And for your nightcap semifinal matchup, it's Alabama and Michigan State in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic at 8 p.m. Eastern. So no major controversy with the teams, but some questions with the seeding. Skip, what are your thoughts on these matchups?
My thoughts are, Molly and Stephen A., that they worked out perfectly and beautifully. But I am speaking as a lifelong University of Oklahoma fan here, and I did not want to see the two best teams in the country, Alabama and Oklahoma, matched up in a semi-final. And truth be told, Michigan State's resume is clearly, to me, stronger than my Oklahoma Sooners resume because, remember, Michigan State's lone loss was at Nebraska on a very controversial receiver goes out of bounds and comes back in to make the winning catch play, 39-38. While my Oklahoma Sooners, in the stinker of the year in college football, Bob Stoops did not have them ready to play their arch rival Texas after Texas had just lost at TCU 50-7. And the Longhorns in Dallas steamrolled my Oklahoma Sooners with 313 yards rushing because they just didn't show up mentally. Are they that bad? They are not that bad. They got back in this game 24-17, though. Truth be told, final score wasn't that close. Michigan State deserved to leapfrog them. But now, this is why this is a beautiful thing for me. A year ago in the bowl games, in the Russell Athletic Citrus Bowl, my Oklahoma Sooners also did not show up. Another big game boob game. I'm sorry, I love Bob Stoops personally, but I don't like him as a motivational, get you ready for the big game kind of coach. And in that bowl game, I guess my Sooners just didn't feel like playing in a quote-unquote minor bowl because it was 40-0 after 3 quarters. And for the first time in my OU-loving life, I turned to Ernestine and I said, I'm sorry, I can't watch any more of this. Can we watch a Jeopardy rerun or something? I don't know what we did, but we just turned it off. 40-0 after 3 quarters. And again, that wasn't even Deshaun Watson, who was hurt for the game.
That's right.
Remember Cliff Stout, the Steelers?
Jeopardy.
Okay, you remember him as Steelers quarterback. His kid
I wasn't
Cole,
impressed with him then.
Yeah, what's that? You weren't impressed with him?
I wasn't impressed with
Well,
Cliff
I was
Stout
impressed
back
with
in
his
the day.
kid this night against OU because he lit it up, okay? And my quarterback that night was Trevor Knight, who looked as nightmarishly bad against Clemson as he had looked all-time great against Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide in the previous Orange Bowl when Alabama mailed it in after the kick-six game.
Basically facilitated the arrival of Mayfield.
That is correct. Okay, so that's what happened. So this is Baker Mayfield. He is, to quote the great Mel Kiper, the most valuable player in college football. He drives this train. He makes the plays. He's the leader emotionally and strategically on the field. He is a Manziel-like playmaker, which is why I love this team to win it all. They are leading in FPI. They're leading in the prediction machine in USA Today, has them winning both games. Vegas has Alabama as a slight favorite, but I want to see Oklahoma and Alabama square off in the finale, and then we'll see what happens.
Now, so are you picking Oklahoma to win it all?
I am, in spite of my coach, Bob Stoops, whom I never trust in these games, but I do trust Baker Mayfield. I think he has trumped Bob Stoops. He's taken over the team in lieu of Bob Stoops' ability to motivate.
Now,
We'll be there for that.
You know where I'm going.
I know you're going to roll, baby.
Roll Tide.
Yeah,
you
here
know
we go.
me. I'm going with Alabama, and I couldn't be happier because I've heard so much about Oklahoma. Now, here's the thing for me. I respect Clemson. Dabo Swinney, I mean, this dude is Mr. Television. I love seeing him.
He is. He lights it up.
And he is great. He's phenomenal for college football. The level of attention that he brings to college football in such a positive fashion, I just think it's a beautiful thing to see him and Clemson in a position to possibly get, win a national championship for the first time since 1981. Nothing but love for them. But I don't think they're the best team in the nation, even though they've been ranked #1. And I'm looking at this schedule, and I know they beat Notre Dame by 2, and I know they beat Florida State. And then I'm looking at wins over Syracuse and Wake Forest and South Carolina. And they only beat South Carolina by 5, and they gave up 32 to South Carolina, and they gave up 37 to North Carolina. So I'm saying if you gave up 32 and 37 to South Carolina and North Carolina in back-to-back contests, what the hell are you going to do against Oklahoma with Baker Mayfield and those Cowboys. I'm just not so sure. So I look at it and I say, all right, they've been telling me, because I only saw Oklahoma twice this year. I saw them romp Oklahoma State, and I didn't even watch all of that game. And I watched them lose to Charlie Strong in Texas, okay? So I'm just looking in the Red River rivalry. I saw all of that. My thing is this. If Oklahoma is supposed to be the best, then that's who I want Roll Tide to go up against.
Okay.
Now, I got to be careful, because under no circumstances do I think Michigan State should be dismissed. Michigan State is to be respected. Their front seven is big time. I'm just not sold on Connor Cook. I'm just not sold on him.
He wasn't healthy.
I know he wasn't healthy. I know, listen, I know he can play.
He can.
I know they're saying he's a first-round pick. I know they've got a lot of faith in him. I know his shoulder. I get all of that.
I'm with you, though.
I'm just not sold. There's something about him, Skip, that's just missing. I'm not really sold on him. I know they can run the football. I know they play smash mouth old school, right? To me, that's playing right into Alabama's hands.
I agree with
that's
you.
the kind of
This
game.
is a good
that's the
matchup
kind
for
of game
Alabama.
they want.
And
this
remember,
is what it is.
Connor Cook can't run,
Right.
although he did make a big run.
He did make a big run, but he's not a runner. I believe it'll be a close game, but that Alabama will find a way to get to the national title game. I don't think they're losing to a Big Ten squad 2 years in a row in the national semifinal. I think they're going to get to the finals, okay?
Yeah.
So, but I look at Oklahoma. Clemson can make it interesting. I think Clemson's a very good team. I just don't think they're worthy of being number one. And I believe, no disrespect to Dabo Swinney, please, because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But I just think that they can make it very interesting, but Oklahoma with Baker Mayfield will find a way. But then I think about Oklahoma, Skip, and your last 3 wins to close out the year. You beat Baylor, you beat TCU, all right, but they didn't have Boykin.
They did.
And you still only won 30-29. Now, you made up for it by shellacking Oklahoma State.
Yep.
But because of how things just played out for you.
By the way, Mason Rudolph, Oklahoma State's quarterback, wasn't right.
That's right.
Game.
That's right. Exactly.
Baylor was down to
their second, third string quarterback.
Well,
so they had a second string quarterback against Baylor. You had a second stringer against TCU, and the dude against Oklahoma.
He's a 1A quarterback.
That's right. There you go. So because of that, I got questions about Oklahoma.
Okay.
I still think they find a way to beat Clemson because I don't trust Clemson's defense. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I can see both teams scoring in a 40 in that national semifinal between Clemson and Oklahoma, but it comes down to Oklahoma against Roll Tide, Alabama, and Baker Mayfield against that defense with Nick Saban having a few extra days to prepare, okay? What is it, from like 10 days from January 11th, from January 1st to January 11th?
Yep.
I'm like this, I'm rolling with Saban.
Are you?
And Alabama. Roll Tide to win the national championship over Oklahoma. That's what I'm
when
thinking.
you least expect it, Nick Saban's defense gets torched. They got torched some this year.
Listen,
Ole Miss torched that defense at Tuscaloosa.
They did turn the ball over 5 times. Let's not forget that. Let's remember that Georgia was supposed to make some noise when Nick Chubb was healthy. They shut him down. Texas A&M was supposed to make some noise. They went to Texas A&M, shut them down. LSU, Leonard Fournette was supposed to do his thing. What happened? Okay, so you can talk all of that stuff all you want to, but last time I checked, Alabama, Nick Saban, Roll Tide, Kirby Smart, your defensive coordinator. He ain't leave for Georgia yet. You had all of this going on, and when the challenge was placed before them, Alabama showed up. I believe that will be the case again. I'm rolling with the Tide to win the national championship over
shocked.
Oklahoma.
You know, you're going way
I'm shocked about
They're
you,
the
too.
Favorite.
And you going out on a limb with Oklahoma, please.
They're barely the favorite.
Let me stop here.
Here's how far I'm going out on my limb.
Okay.
As a Sooner fan, I am more worried about Clemson than I am about Alabama.
That is very disrespectful.
That's what I'm saying.
You just exercised disrespect right there. That was disrespectful. You worried more about Clemson than Alabama?
Pure honesty.
I don't say that honesty.
You know why?
Please.
You know why?
I mean, Alabama is less to be worried about than Clemson?
Deshaun Watson is a great college football
player.
We ain't.
Excuse me. Leonard Fournette's great. What happened to him?
He doesn't play quarterback.
What happened to him? Well, it doesn't matter. The point that I'm trying to make to you is when you going up against Ty, Eddie Jackson and the crew on that defensive side and Ragland and those boys on that defense, you're being very disrespectful. Very disrespectful.
In fact, I need Deshaun Watson to win the Heisman over Derrick Henry. That's what I need.
Really?
I need it.
Really?
I want it.
Security needs to get you drug tested.
Why?
Derrick Henry doesn't get the Heisman because of Watson. Oh, stop it. Against North Carolina, I respect them. They had a good season, but they showed that they didn't necessarily belong in that national playoff, okay? North Carolina is very good, doing an outstanding job. Proud of those brothers, but they didn't belong in the top 4, and they still got dropped 37 on Clemson. Really?
I need Deshaun Watson to bring his Heisman Trophy to the Orange Bowl.
Let me ask you this question.
That's what I need.
Let me ask you this question.
That's what I need.
Let me ask you this question. You think Deshaun Watson and those boys are going to put up those points against Alabama's defense?
Well, I already picked Oklahoma to beat Clemson.
Okay, so you think Oklahoma's going to be... So you think they're going to put up those numbers on Oklahoma?
No, I just need Deshaun to win the Heisman, just so he can bring it down to the Orange Bowl.
You do that, and all you're going to do is exacerbate the situation and tick them off. It's very disrespectful what you're saying.
At the Orange Bowl, my Sooners are 12-6, and they've won some national championships.
I mean, what the hell are they doing? Giving out oranges? What are they, farm workers? No, they're football players. Who cares what they did at the Orange Bowl years ago? What did they do in the bowl game last year?
They love South Beach.
Really?
Yeah, they love
South Beach. Well, you know what? Alabama, with Saban being as disciplined as they are, recognize that they don't need to be in South Beach in the days leading up to it.
I suddenly have a really vested interest in this game now because I need Bama and Oklahoma when we're at the national championship game.
That's disrespect right there. That's disrespect. Clemson is more of a threat than Alabama.
I'm more worried.
Oh, Lord, please let it be those two teams because it'll be fun for us. Those will be some fun shows.
Listen, Clemson, I like Clemson a lot. I respect them. I'm fans of their program. I just don't think that they ready for this. Alabama? Ooh, that's very disrespectful.
Oklahoma.
That's very
Make it happen so I can get more of this. Okay, let's go to break. Riding the chip, the Eagles pull off the huge victory over the Pats Sunday. So is Philly the favorite to win the NFC East? Oh!